So we have here Alisée de Tonnac. Do I pronounce it right?
Good job.
You're CEO and co-founder of Speedsters World.
Yes.
What is that? Explain us what your company is about.
So Speedsters World is a startup competition focused on emerging markets and fast-growing startup scenes. We started in 2013 and now we are based in 60 countries. So we have 60 events worldwide, from Colombia to Nigeria to Indonesia. And our focus is to find the best entrepreneurs and support them, connect one another, and of course invest in the finalists.
Okay, and I mean, we've seen over the last years, in my opinion, a hype of accelerators, accelerator programs, you know, entrepreneurs, startups, investors. What does your company distinguish from all those other companies looking for the most talented, the most promising startups in worldwide?
Most of them are geography specific. I don't think there are many competitions at such an international scale and with a really strong focus on emerging markets. So you do see some that have the buzz of saying we have applications from worldwide, but I haven't found anything that replaces face-to-face. So my team physically goes to each market to meet with the local players, to interact with the entrepreneurs and select the most promising one. So in that sense, the kind of face-to-face and international scope is unique. Also behind, it's just not a competition, it's a network. So from this network, we build market intelligence, we build true connections, partnerships. We see trends where we know that this model can be exported and put in this continent rather than, and use all this knowledge that we have to build companies and invest in additional ones.
I read an interview with you that you described the way you started your company, your focus on the emerging markets, and what really touched me is that you said, well, you first traveled the world for a year, I think, and visited many developing countries, emerging countries, whatever you want to call it. And I think that really changed your view of the world, didn't it?
Absolutely. So actually it was our pilot test. So that first year was the first year of the competition where we went to 20 countries, one ticket home, so 10 months on the road.
Whoa.
And it completely changed my view at a personal level. I think it changed me at a personal and professional level in terms of how we perceive these markets and in reality the opportunities that are in these markets. So I was saying earlier in the conference that we tend to look at, oh my God, there are 4 billion people that are still not connected to the internet. This is an issue, or it's markets that are still not mature enough to go in. I see it as, wow, we need to be in there. There are 4 billion untapped consumers and citizens that we can connect.
Yeah.
So it's a question of perspective, really.
And can you give us a concrete example of how it changed the way you look at entrepreneurship? And I mean, we have a certain tendency from the West to look at the emerging market as more as markets where we produce our goods, for example, and not really as a grown-up market that we look at
absolutely
as from an equality point of view. How do you look at that?
At so many levels. First of all, I understood our definition of happiness, of education, etc. Anything is completely biased because I've seen at people with arranged marriage, different habits and personal ways of viewing life that are fundamentally happy. So from that point of view, I realized everything is gray. There's no black and white kind of north versus south story. It's completely blurred, the lines. So in terms of entrepreneurship, what we've seen is more and more European, US-based companies that actually are having their intelligence centers, R&D centers in these regions because the talent is there, the market is there. We tend to copy our consumer habits, but we're talking about markets where they don't even have landlines. They leapfrog directly to mobile phones. And from that, mobile payment is 10 times more sophisticated in these countries than it is at our home. Not in terms of the technology, and low tech for me is the future in these regions, but in terms of habits. I
always give the example, I was living in Zambia in 2002, when people were already paying each other through SMS.
I know.
You could just send your a prepaid credit from a very old mobile phone to another mobile phone.
Yeah,
so
you were not even talking
agree.
Smartphones. And I had my friends that sent me a message because I was in Geneva before where the company is based. And it was like, oh my God, we can now pay by SMS our tram tickets. And I was like, yeah, welcome to 6 years ago in most countries.
Africa,
exactly.
Yeah. Now you work a lot with the entrepreneurs and startups from those regions, from the emerging markets. What kind of particular challenges do they face that we need to solve?
Many, because the market is still immature in the sense that we still need a lot of education in the investor side. So there are not many investors, qualified investors. I mean, it's still, you make more money in real estate. So there's a lot of work to be done on that side. Either bringing in investors from Europe and US that know better the model, or showing deals or sourcing through other financing models in the meantime. So this is where the government also can come in and support, but also the entrepreneurs that
the finance models, they don't fit on the local situation?
So a lot of people talk about crowdsourcing for crowdsourcing, but we're still not there in some region. It's taken off in certain, but not everywhere. And again, there's still an issue. Finding pre-seed, seed money, so that 50, 150K, super easy. Sincerely, if I hear an entrepreneur telling me I can't find it, you haven't done your homework. This might mean that you need to change markets, you need to go to Chile to get funded by a program, or go to Singapore to get funded by another program, but the money is accessible. Series A money is nearly inexistent. Okay. So that 500K, 1, 2, 3 million, that's where entrepreneurs really need support. Yeah.
But why is that non-existent? I mean, if I may believe you, I mean, there are plenty of opportunities, and if there are opportunities, investors must be interested. Why? What is stopping European, American investors to invest their money in Series A rounds in Africa or Asia?
So many, I think the fear of what it means, these markets in terms of scalability and growth, the unknown. Yeah. The only fund I know that really is actively going to Philippines or Indonesia or these markets is 500 Startups that is run by Dave McClure. Yeah. So really, I don't think there are many going there. So it's a question of also educating the diaspora about the opportunities in their own markets, and they know it. The diaspora is coming home in every region in the world. It's about educating the government to be that support until it makes sense for other VCs, business angels to come in. But it's coming gradually.
Okay, I've lived in Africa myself for about 5 years on the African continent. Which countries in, for example, Africa are most promising if we look at the entrepreneurial climate or the amount of startups that is being started?
In terms of markets, if you look at the macro numbers, it's still very... So Nigeria is the biggest market. We're talking about 180 million people. We have South Africa, Egypt, Morocco that are very interesting in terms of market. In terms of ecosystem, the more mature ones are South Africa. We have
Kenya, probably.
Kenya, Nairobi has boosted a lot. Nigeria, Lagos is growing fast also. Egypt Cairo is having more and more of a stronger scene, same as in Casablanca. So they're coming in, and as you said, it's popping up everywhere. Okay. Many of these initiatives will die in the next year because it's like, we know it in any industry, that's how it works. Yeah. But it does general good than bad, I still feel.
Okay, you just had a talk here on one of the stages. What was your main point? What are you advocating here?
My main point was on perspective. So it was really to change the perspective of what can you gain out of emerging markets, where still today when I tell people I'm moving to Nigeria, the only thing that comes to mind is Boko Haram and Ebola. And it can't be just that story. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm not here to justify it or not. But there are so many other stories, and I would like to balance out these two faces of these economies and people before anything behind them.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting if you look at it from a more cynical point of view. There have always been people standing up on stages and saying, well, you look at Africa or Asia, South America from the wrong point of view. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's about culture or women or education or, in your case, entrepreneurship. Is there something new about this period in time? Is it? I mean, a lot of people are saying the world is getting smaller, technology is bringing us together. I mean, is that true, or is it just the same as it always was?
Well, when you think about it, it took us 100 years to have 1 billion consumers for the telephone. It took us less than 5 years for the smartphone. I can't even imagine for the next technology. So yes, I still think we're at the beginning of seeing how impactful it is to connect everyone on the internet through mobile phones, etc. And from there, it gives you a sense of how important emerging markets are now today. Mm-hmm. And they are the latest frontiers in terms of growth, in terms of opportunities, in terms of the latest consumers that you need to catch. So we say that this time, but we've said it before, is the next chapter for Africa.
Okay, well, with your company, you organize the competitions and the programs. So what is next for your company? Where will you be in 2 years?
So our objective was to expand geographically and to really impose ourselves as the kind of startup Olympics. So we're in 60 countries. I don't think our objective, we went from 20, 40 to 60. Mm-hmm. I don't think our objective now is to continue and grow necessarily in scale of cities, but more verticalize our efforts in being more impactful on a longer term basis in these regions. Mm-hmm. So hence my move to Nigeria, where from there we want to launch an academy, a more supportive presence on the ground where we can build our own companies but also support the entrepreneurs and talents present there. Okay, you just moved to Nigeria. Yeah. Exciting, I guess. Lost in translation still, but very exciting. Yeah, okay, but is it I think it's necessary to be on the ground in an emerging market to build up your company, Absolutely. Isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely, and even the investments we make were extremely hands-on. Okay. Has it changed your view on, for example, a country like Nigeria, moving there, living there? It has. I had to move there, even though I do Speedsters World. Because before that you were based in Geneva. So I was in Geneva, and only 1.5 years in Geneva, because before that I did the world tour, the 10-month world tour. So I was exposed again to this reality and optimism. But it's true, only 1 year in Geneva with the media and with the news I was getting from far. Again, I was kind of skeptical of what it meant to live in Nigeria, and I've been here for a month and I'm extremely happy, and it's a big city of 20 million people, so you need to know the rules of the games like amazing, any big city. Yeah. But it's crazily overwhelming and positive. If Dutch investors, VCs, are watching this program and they think, well, that's interesting, you know, what would you say to them? I mean, a lot of them are scared and insecure what you can do in countries like Nigeria or in general in the emerging markets. One message for them? It's the right time. It's the right time. It's the right time. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for being here. En dank jullie weer voor het kijken. We gaan zo verder met veel meer interviews hier vanaf eDay. Je kunt ook alles on demand terugkijken, dus dat is ook helemaal geen probleem als je af en toe eens wat mist. We danken Streamzilla voor het verzorgen van de livestream, waardoor je live mee kon kijken. En we gaan weer door met de volgende. Dank jullie wel. Thank you.